Howdy everyone, Pocher here with an Age of Magic video, and in today's video we're doing the Hero Spotlight for Claudia Toxic, the caster for the Assassin's Guild. Sounds like a new faction. It's not, it's the renamed Changelings faction. So this is the faction that Sharazar is part of. So we'll go over the character's stats, her abilities, animations in the arena, and talk about how you can potentially use her, though she is the first, because I'm not including Sharazar, of her faction, so it's going to be hard to get a gauge of how you're going to be able to use her or how she synergizes with other characters from her faction. But without waiting any longer, let's get into the stats. The hit points at fully maxed out come in at 7 million, speed 215, armor 51k, magic damage resistance 164k, basic magic damage 870k, magic critical hit chance 36%, and magic critical damage 1.4 million. And the stats more in depth for you to have a look at. There you go. Feel free to pause it, take whatever information you need to. It is all there for you. So let's jump into the arena now, have a look at this character and her abilities. Jumping into the arena, we have Claudia's basic attack. Poison Shot triggers the mage damage at class mark. Casts hit list on the target. Now, hit list is that new mark that we see on Schnee. The target on the hit list becomes vulnerable to enemy skills, regardless of restrictions. Hit list ignores Fortitude when cast, removed upon target death, or transferred to another target. If a target on the hit list dies, this skill enters a 2-turn cooldown. Now, that's really confusing wording. Let me clear that up right now. This ability doesn't go on a 2-turn cooldown. The hit list debuff cannot be applied for 2 turns, from how I understand it. And I believe there will be other characters that can apply the hit list debuff, and that goes across the whole faction. So it's something you need to choose how you use, because if you kill the target with the hit list debuff, then you got to wait to reapply it. Deals magic damage to one target, has a 20% chance per allied rogue or dark hero to slow the target by 35% for 2 turns. So we'll look at the animations on the Gatekeeper. So nice little dart shoots out, magic dart, and applies the hit list. Takes it off Schnee, transfers it to Gatekeeper. He is now the new target on the hit list, themed for the assassins. They get a contract. Pretty much, Gatekeeper is the contract. They are out to kill him now. Pretty nice ability. Obviously doesn't mean too much because we do not know what the hit list does yet, but we're obviously going to go into that as we go through this character's kit. Moving on to Claudia's second ability, we have Seeing Fog. Triggers the mage damage at class mark. Prevents allied dark mages, archers, and healers, as well as all allied rogues from being attacked for 3 turns if there are other targets available for attacks. Casts 3 stacks of a dot debuff on everyone on the battlefield except Cluadia Toxic. The debuff deals 60% of basic damage. 1 stack is removed each turn. If the target is on the hit list, it receives magic damage and a heal block for 2 turns. So we've got the hit list on the enemy Gatekeeper. We'll look at the animation of the ability and have a look at the damage. Yeah, it's more of a support ability, and really the only benefit of it is the hiding allies, to be honest. Dots don't do a huge amount of damage in this game unless you can stack up a lot of them. And so we'll obviously have to go over this character's kit still. There might be something in here that affects dot damage, but as of right now, it's pretty standard. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing that really stands out with this ability. Moving on to Claudia's third ability, Intoxication, and this is the ability that makes it. I think this is such a cool ability. We've never seen anything like it in the game before, and I love it when new things are introduced. So Intoxication, what does it do? Casts Lunacy on the target for 3 turns. This target will attack and cast debuffs on the hit list hero from their squad, including self, and will not perform additional or counter attacks. Mass attacks and attacks with additional targets are redirected to the target's squad. If there is no one on the hit list, the target will attack a random ally. Damage dealt by the target under Lunacy is increased by 70%. When dealing damage to a hit list target, deals additional 22 or 28% of the attacker's basic damage as well. So there are abilities in the game that damage allies. We've got Librarian, we've got Blood Priest. They have abilities that not only hit their enemy, but also hit their team indirectly. This is the first ability where we almost take control of an enemy. We turn our 5-man squad into a 6-man squad. It seems really, really powerful. So we can go ahead and cast Lunacy on the Gatekeeper, and then I'll go over some things I've discovered about the ability. So we're going to go ahead and cast Lunacy on the Gatekeeper. Now Sharazar will come around. We'll give him a bit of spotlight. We'll cast this, which increases damage the enemy takes by 22%. So if it hits, didn't hit Schnee, but there we go. And bang! 4.4 million damage on the hit list target, which is Schnee. Gatekeeper almost taking out the Schnee for us, with us having to do very little ourselves. It is really, really cool. I love it. The only quarrel I have with it is that it's a 3-turn debuff. It is a long time to have control of an enemy. Obviously, there are ways to remove debuffs, but 3 turns is still a very, very long time. Now, what have I discovered about this ability? Number one, the enemy that has Lunacy can cast their abilities. So Gatekeeper can cast his AoE ability, which will hit everyone on his team. Now, what I have not been able to discover, and it's just because of the testing area, but I'm sure we will figure it out soon enough, is what happens with those more detailed abilities. It says that the attack can apply debuffs, so I'm just assuming that the attack will just act as if the attack is happening against the enemy themselves. So for example, you shoot that freeze out with rock, you're stunning your whole team. Now, obviously the AI is stupid. I think the AI will act normally and just use their abilities. If you are playing a team that has Lunacy on them, all you would do is use your basic attack. You would just try and work around it till you have a solution to the problem. But I think it's a really unique ability. I really like it. Just feel like it's a really long time. 3 turns is a huge amount of time. And if you give this to a character like Morrigan, for example, or Rougarou, comes off the top of my head, you're going to cause some pretty big damage. But there you go. We'll move on to the leadership and passives now. Moving into Claudia Toxic's passive, a victim of experiments. Claudia's damage from any dot effects is reduced by 60%. For each debuff on herself, Claudia's damage is increased by 10%. Claudia's armor and magic resistance are increased by 8% for every debuff on every ally. So remember, she can apply dots to everyone on the team. If we jump to her and we apply a stinging fog, it should apply the dots. Yeah, so dots get applied to her allies as well. Very interesting that the dots do less damage. Claudia's damage from any dot effects is reduced by 60%. So it's very interesting that they are reducing her damage. But she does get stronger with debuff on herself. So it would be nice if she applied the poisons to herself, the dots to herself. That would be interesting to see. It would definitely make her a little bit stronger. But yeah, like I said, we don't know the rest of the faction. This might just work really well with her, and you know, this is here for a reason. But we'll move on to her leadership now and go over that. Claudia Toxic's leadership personal score. At the start of battle, cast hit list on a random enemy except for a defender. Ignores fortitude when cast. Damage of all allied assassins and rogues to hit list targets is increased by 37%. Allied rogues and dark characters deal additional damage equal to 6% of Claudia's basic damage per debuff on every ally. Okay. During Claudia's two first turns, allied assassins and rogues are protected from initiative reduction. The effect is lost if Claudia dies before the end of the first 2 turns. So very interesting stuff. I like some of this. I like that at the start of the battle, the hit list is cast on a character that is not a defender, because part of the hit list debuff is that that character can be attacked past taunt. So that's really nice. Again, though, it just takes away from tanks. I just feel like tanks get bent over so much. Like, I just want a really good tank character. I want a faction where the main character is the tank. He is the be all and end all of the faction. Like, I just, every time I see a character just avoiding a tank, it just breaks my heart. But how the ability works is nice. I like how you instantly can get to one target on that team. It plays with the assassin theme. Okay, they are after someone. They are going to get that target. Obviously, more damage. That's nice. Allied rogues and dark characters do additional damage. Yeah, during Claudia's and an obvious initiative protection. I think initiative protection is just almost going to be built into most things because of Mordred. Obviously, he has been nerfed. His initiative reduction isn't as potent, nowhere near as potent, but he gave us a glimpse into how powerful initiative reduction can be. Like, it can be scary. It can win you a whole match. So it's initiative, and in this case, it's not initiative reduction to her whole team. It's certain characters. So I like that. I think that's a balanced way to do it. But yeah, she's a very interesting character. I think the lunacy thing almost gives her use straight away. I don't even think you really need to be waiting for the faction to come out. I think people are definitely going to find uses for this in battle quite quickly. Coming to mind, just straight off the bat, not PvP based, using this in Cradle of Chaos can turn some of those real tricky waves into a godsend. I mean, if you could get hit list up on like a Dragonkin wave, for example, you can get hit list up on a Karana. You can end up turning the enemy Dexa or Qatar against the team. But also, in saying that, it's a debuff, so Dragonkin would just get rid of it. Silly me for thinking outside the box. But yeah, I really like her. I think she's got a cool kit. I think there will be some really unique ways to use her, and I honestly can't wait to see how people figure it out. But yeah, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will answer it to the best of my ability and move around the world. Until next time, please take care of yourself.